I'm just going to do some of the problems for you, okay? Here's our worksheet. You see there's 24 problems. I'm going to do 8 for you, okay? So here's what you need to write up top. Two formulas. Number one, equation for a line. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Second thing you have to write down is slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Every time, wait till you get done. Every time you see the directions, write an equation for a line. Every single time. You must use that. Okay? It says the slope is 5 and the point on the line is -2, 4. This is my x1. This is my y1. So I write it out. Y minus what? 4 equals, what's m? Times x what? Plus 2. From there, you just put it into slope-intercept form. What do you do with the 5? Y minus 4 equals 5x plus 10. Add 4 to both sides. Y equals 5x plus 14. Beautiful. Right? Try next one. X1, Y1. Y minus what? Oh, let's do a fraction one, okay? We'll do a fraction one. That one's easy. Let's try this one over here. This one's marked D. It should be F. Okay? Y minus what? 4 equals 5 over 2 times x plus 10. Distribute 5 over 2 times x. 5 over 2 times 10. You take 5 and multiply it by 10 to get 50, and then you divide by 2 to get 25. Finally, see that? Not too bad, right? Now, in this problem, you're given the slope and you're given your point on your line. Every time it says write an equation for a line, you need to figure out the slope and you have to have a point on your line. So the first set of problems are really straightforward and really easy. The others, not always the same, okay? First of all, you get to choose which point you want on the line. Do you want to use 6.2 or 4.8? Okay, we'll use 6.2. How do I figure out the slope? It doesn't tell me. We use what? The slope formula right here. What's y2? y1? 2. x2? x1. I get 6 over -2. What's 6 over -2? -3. Now you have slope and you have a point on your line. You can now use your equation right up here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus what? 2 equals, what's m? -3 times x minus 6. Y minus 2 equals -3x plus 18. Add the 2, y equals negative 3x plus 20. Let's try another one. Let's try f. Point on the line. So I need slope, and I need point on the line. What point on the line would you like to choose? Negative 2, 6. It'll work out the same, whichever one you choose. How do I figure out the slope? Slope formula. What's y2? Minus y1 divided by x2. What's x2? Negative 2 plus 4. So I get negative or positive 5 over 2. Now I grab my big equation. Y minus what? 6. You could have used 1. That would be fine. Equals m, which is 5 halves, times x, what? Plus 2. Y minus 6 equals 5 over 2x. 5 times 2 is, divided by 2 is 5. Add the 6. Does this look familiar? I bet that there was a time you did this back in 9th grade or 8th grade. You're like, this is very confusing. It's not that bad now, right? Because you've seen it multiple times. Again, these formulas are super important, right? Now, flip it over. Parallel. Super important. New material. Slopes of two lines that are parallel. Their slopes are same. Parallel means same slope. So I want to write an equation for a line that's parallel to y equals negative 3x plus 2 and passes through negative 1, 4. Every time I write down slope and a point on the line. Can somebody tell me what's my point on the line? That was easy. But the slope, do you know the slope of this line? What is it? Negative 3. So what's the slope of the line parallel to it going to be? Negative 3. Now we're good to go. Y minus what? Equals negative 3 times x. Distribute negative 3. Y minus 4 equals negative 3x minus 3. Add the 4. F. What's my point on the line? Can you look at that and tell what the slope is? No, because it's not in slope-intercept form, is it? So this one's a little bit more difficult because first we have to put it into slope-intercept form. So what should I do to both sides? Subtract x to get negative 4y equals negative x plus 8. Then what do you do to both sides? Y is, what's negative x over negative 4? What fraction is that? A 1/4 x. And then 8 over negative 4 minus 2. So what's the slope of that line? A fourth. So the slope of the line parallel is 1/4. Right? Set up my equation. Y minus what? 4 equals m 1/4 times x what? Plus 4. Distribute What's a fourth times 4? 4 times 1 is 4, divided by 4 is 1. I add the 4 to both sides. Now we'll do perpendicular. Tell you what, here's your assignment, so you guys know. I'm doing 2 for you. There'll be 4 left in each section. You choose 3. Or you can do all 4. It's up to you. No, 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 no. Okay. Hey, last one says, write an equation for a line that's perpendicular. Slopes that are perpendicular. Anybody know the relationship between the slopes? Lines that are perpendicular, do you remember? Opposite, reciprocal. Good. Again, every time I see the directions, write an equation for a line, I write M and POL. Every time. What's the point on the line? Do I know the slope of this line? What is it? It's 3. The slope of this line is 3. So what's the slope of the line that's perpendicular to it? The opposite, so instead of positive, it's negative, and reciprocal, 1 over 3. Is that enough now to get started? Y minus what? 5 equals negative 1/3 times x plus 6. What's negative 1/3 times 6? Negative 2. Good. Add 5 to both sides. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. Let's do one more. We'll do E, and we're done. That'll mean we did 8 problems together, and you got 12 on your own. Okay? Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you. Slope and point on line. What's my point on my line? Negative 8, 3. Can I tell what the slope is just by looking at it? So I have to put it into. So I subtract the x, I get negative 2y, negative x plus 6. Now what? 5 by negative 2. Y is 1/2 x minus 3. What's the slope of this line? 1/2. So what would be the slope of the line perpendicular? Negative 2. Good. You guys, I got kids in college algebra getting college credit that when they get these problems on the test, they'll get them wrong next unit. I'm telling you, this is not always easy stuff. People make mistakes here. So feel good if you're understanding this. This is good. So y minus 3 equals negative 2 times x what? Plus 8. Good. You switched it to plus. Distribute. Add 3. Pretty good, huh? So these formulas for equation for lines, super important, right? We use it every single problem. Slope, had to use it for these problems right here. Parallel, that's nice because it's just the same slope. Perpendicular, we think of opposite reciprocal. That's the last thing we need to practice to be ready to start moving towards our test. So I'm going to post an answer key for this as well as yesterday's assignment. right up here. I want you to choose 3 from each section. Or if you get bored, do all 4. No, so you should do a total of 5 from each section. So I did 2 for you. You'll choose 3 more. 3 more. So if you want to do B, C, and D, or B, D, and F, 3 more from each section. And you got 20 minutes. Due by Wednesday.